Installing a cheap clamp-on trolling motor has always been kind of a challenge on Flat Nose Jon Boat. And it's mostly because there's just not a lot of great products out there that can make this an easy install. So I've got two new product options that are specifically made for clamp-on trolling motor that's going to help you install it on either a Flat Nose Jon Boat, and we also have another option that's going to work great on inflatables and any other kind of boat that has a flat bow that may be difficult to install a clamp-on trolling motor. Let's take a closer look at these new trolling motor mounts and show you how to install them. Here's an up-close look at our new clamp-on trolling motor mount. This one is the universal mount. It has a large flat bottom mounting surface so that you can bolt this down to the front deck of your boat. This works great on like inflatable skiffs, V-hole boats that have a big front bow plate. You could even bolt this onto the front of a kayak and use it to do a clamp-on trolling motor on the front of a plastic boat or a kayak. And then this version over here is specifically made for Flat Nose Jon Boat. This part is the flat mounting surface so that you can put it onto the front of the flat nose of the Jon Boat. Then it has a trimmable L bracket that will allow you to bolt this to the mounting bracket for your trolling motor and attach this to the deck of your boat to give a nice sturdy platform for mounting your trolling motor. This is all 1/8" aluminum welded construction. It has two gussets on each side that are welded in, and that helps support where the area that you're going to be mounting your trolling motor to. And they all feature this lip that's welded in right here so that if anything ever happens and your trolling motor clamps come loose, it'll slide up and hit that lip and keep your trolling motor from falling off of your boat. Now we'll go over the install process for different style boats here in just a second. I want to go over the measurements first so you know what you're getting. So the universal bracket has a mounting base that is 8 inches long and it is 6 inches wide. We made it at 8 inches so you got some room to overhang this off the front of your boat if you want to kind of mount this at an angle or something like that. Now the part where your trolling motor actually clamps to is 4 inches tall, and you have about 5 3/4 inches of mounting space inside here, which is more than enough for all of your standard size clamp-on trolling motors out on the market. Now on the Flat Nose Jon Boat version, you got a little bit smaller of a surface area to mount this to the front of your boat, but it's still plenty enough room to where you can overhang this if you need. So total mounting surface area is about 6 3/8 inches, and it is 6 inches wide. And it still has a 4-inch area for clamping on your trolling motor. Now this mounting lip right here is 1.5 inches, and it does have 2 pre-drilled holes. And we'll show you what those are for here in just a minute. And your L bracket right here is 6 3/4 inches tall. And then the mounting lip down here is 1.75 inches. And it also has 4 mounting holes pre-drilled in it for you already. And these are already pre-sanded to 120 grit, so they are ready to paint or powder coat or whatever it is that you want to do to match your boat. The universal version is not going to come with any hardware, and how you mount this to your boat is going to depend on your specific boat. Some people are going to be bolting this, some may want to rivet it. Well, I probably wouldn't recommend using screws, but if you want to do that, you can. Now the Flat Nose Jon Boat version is going to come with hardware, and it's going to be as follows. You're going to get a short set of bolts that are 3/4 inch long. That's going to come with a washer, a lock washer, and a nut. And these shorter bolts are going to be used for these 2 holes in the front of your trolling motor bracket to mount to this L bracket. And you're going to get 2 1-inch bolts that have a washer, a lock washer, and a nut. These are going to be used to bolt the trolling motor mount to the front lip of the boat. And then for mounting our L bracket, we're going to have 2 different options. You're going to have some long 3/16 rivets so that you can rivet this down to your aluminum deck. Also going to have some 1.5 inch screws. If you want to do some self-tapping screws, you can do it that way as well. The install process on a Flat Nose Jon Boat is pretty simple. We're going to be installing one on our duck boat project that has this front grab bar. So just pretend for a second this is not here, and I'll show you how to do this on a Flat Nose Jon Boat. So you'll set your trolling motor mount up here in whichever direction you want it to go. So you can angle it in whichever direction that you want so that the trolling motor lays inside the boat the way that you prefer. You're just going to line that up with however much overhang that you want on the front of your boat. On most flat nose installations, you'll be able to just make this level with the front of the boat if you want. If you're doing this on a boat that has a little bit of a V in the front, you may have to overhang it just a little bit. All you need to do is make sure that you have enough room to drill a hole through this part of the mounting bracket and into this flat nose part of the boat. You're going to take this part of your L bracket and put this down towards the deck of the boat. Hold that nice and tight, and then you're going to want to mark this L bracket just underneath where this lip is so that you can cut this L bracket to fit your particular boat. Once you have your mark, you can just take a skill saw, an angle grinder, or even a jigsaw and cut this piece off. Now this one that's going on our duck boat project, I've already painted it to match the boat, and I've already cut it down to size. Once you have that L bracket cut down to size, you can hold it up into place, and then you can drill those 2 holes all the way through. And we'll take our bolt, leave 1 washer on the front side so we can get that through. And I do the same thing with my other bolt, get it through. And then here on the back side, I will just install a lock washer and our nut. And then with the assembly completed, you can set it up here and figure out where you want to mount this. Now on a Project Duck boat, I have one thing that I kind of have to contend with, and that is this grab bar that I installed on this boat. So I'm going to put our trolling motor on here and tighten it down just so that I can make sure that I'm going to put this in the right place. I have enough clearance for the shaft to not touch this front grab bar. It looks like that right there is going to give me plenty of room. So I'm just going to hold this in place and go ahead and take my trolling motor off. Now that I've got it right where I want it, I can go ahead and drill a hole. And I'll take that longer bolt, put the washer on it, install that from the top. And then from the underside, I'll install that. Get underneath here with a wrench and hold this. Go ahead and tighten this down. I'm just going to get it tight to where this thing doesn't want to move anymore, but I'm not going to tighten it all the way just yet. I can go ahead and drill my second hole, and you just need to keep in mind that you have a lip right here somewhere, and wherever it ends, you want to be just to the inside of it so that you can still get your nut and your washer on the back side. And I can install my other bolt. Then we can put on our other nut and lock washer. If this is too tight of a space for you to work in, like it is for me, you can always undo these bolts, pull your bracket out. That way you have a little bit easier access to get to the back side of here and put your nut and your washer on. Yes, I know I am all up in the way of the camera. I can't help it, I'm right-handed. Now, before you tighten this thing down, you can go ahead and reinstall your mounting bracket. Just make sure you get that lock washer on the back. You can go ahead and get that nice and snug. We're not going to tighten it all the way just yet. Now at this point, you need to decide whether you're going to mount the L bracket to your deck with either rivets or screws. Rivets for me are honestly the easiest. I do rivets all the time. Just drill a 3/16" hole and then just pop a rivet in there. I know a lot of people don't like rivets. We're going to show you with screws today. I'm going to use some self-tapping screws. You don't want to go crazy with this. No ugga-duggas. All you need to do is just get these nice and secure. And as I get close to it, I just slowly pull it down until it's nice and tight. Definitely don't want to go overboard, especially with stainless screws in aluminum, because they are very easy to strip the aluminum out. And that's all it takes. Now we can get in here and tighten up our bolts for the last time. And that is it. Super simple, super secure. I don't have to worry about this going anywhere. I'm going to take my fingers and just stick it right underneath this mount right here. I'm going to pick this whole boat up just by this mount and grab this thing from the inside. Pick up the whole boat. I can come in here with my trolling motor and install it. I've got plenty of room and clearance right here so this shaft can move without hitting the front of the boat. And I can stow this inside the boat, is out of the way. And with that lip, it's secure enough to where I could even transport it like this if I wanted to. Now, the universal clamp-on trolling motor bracket is even easier to install. I recently put one on the front of one of our air skiffs, and I just took the flat front deck off the boat, put it on my workbench, and lined up the mounting bracket where I wanted it on that front deck piece. I decided to mount this with 4/4" bolts. So I marked out my holes, drilled 4/4" holes, and I used some countersink bolts with lock nuts and washers on the back to bolt it all in place. And that gave me a great mounting surface to put clamp-on style trolling motor with my auto boat on the front of an air skiff. Now there's a lot of uses for this universal mount. You could put this on the front deck of a small pontoon boat to put a small clamp-on trolling motor on there. If you have a semi-flat surface on the front of a kayak, you could bolt this through the plastic of the kayak and use this on the front of a kayak to mount a small clamp-on trolling motor that you could use the auto boat with. And this could also be used on the front of boats that have a flat bow plate and have a V on the front of them, like your V-bottom boats and this Mod V Jon Boat. It's just a matter of lining it up, seeing where you want to mount it. You could either bolt this into plates, you could use some riv nuts, you could use rivets if you want. However you're comfortable mounting this on the front of a boat, you're welcome to do that.
If you're interested in either of these new trolling motor mounts or any of our other awesome Jon Boat accessories, head on over to tbnation.net right now. You can go check out both of these trolling motor mounts and our full line of Jon Boat and boating accessories. We've got aluminum accessories, hatches, other styles of trolling motor mounts, lithium batteries, electric outboards, anything that you could ever need to make your boat the boat of your dreams.